towards that battle for fourth.
182, 183 beats per minute for the Italian. It's an embarrassment. Quartararo, Viñales and Rossi are all together in 13th, 14th and 15th.
The supposedly inferior spec motorcycle fighting for yet another podium finish.
Dovi back to Rossi. You can see the battle from 4 seconds behind Valentino Rossi.
Yeah, it's been a visit. Oliveira is still doing low 140s.
It's all over. It's over for Mir. He's pulling in.
A couple of big contacts in this race. You just wonder whether there's perhaps some damage. Yeah, he's looking down.
Yeah, with the motorcycle. So Joan Mir, the world champion, his first race as a world champion, is a retire. Speaks to Frankie Carcetti. They're all looking around. Davide Brivio at the moment.
And isn't it as well, because Alex Rins is going the wrong way. Rins has dropped into the mid 141s now to manage the tyres very, very well. You'd think that Alex Rins would be coming on particularly strong at this stage of the race.
Well, they were celebrating last week. It's a bit doom and gloom in the carriage today.
Commiserating today on
Villa here. Can he find a way past Franco Morbidelli out front? Still 4 seconds ahead. It's
another Villa. Jack Miller's just the second man in this Grand Prix to find a 139. 139.95. Not sure what's happening to Alex Rins, because now he's doing 42s. I don't know whether he's got grip problems or whether it's some day.
I mean, that's a bit close between Maverick Viñales and Fabio Quartararo. Valentino Rossi's closed up on the end of this one. They've got Alex Rins up ahead of them.
Well, better to have your problems when you have already wrapped up the MotoGP World Champ.
The Triple Crown, and Alex Rins' chances of staying in the top 3 are evaporating here, because Quartararo and Maverick Viñales just put in his fastest lap of the race a moment ago. So they drop over the hill at turn 8 and through turn 9.
Quartararo, wasn't it? Coming out of turn 11.
On Fabio Quartararo, but Fabio's going to have another look back through. Can now Maverick Viñales get almost have contact there?
See how far away these guys are. 4.2 seconds advantage. There's been no tyre drop off at all for Miguel Oliveira. Absolutely brilliantly.
Yeah, and now Miller's getting very close to Franco Morbidelli, and this could just be a matter of time. 5 beckons for the Frenchman.
Yeah, good ride, strong way to move into Pramac Ducati next year.
Francesco Guidotti looks on. It looks like a podium is coming.
Did this last year, didn't he, as well, Jack Miller? A real strong finish to 2019. And bar some, the cruel look of Fabio Quartararo's tear-off, getting sucked into his airbox. That robbed his Ducati of conditions, and then wiped out by Brad Binder in Teruel. There's been a lot of points gone begging for Jack Miller.
Back to 4 tenths, 5 tenths across the line. Yes, 6 tenths in fact, so that was a mistake.
Yeah, to try and find a way through on Franco Morbidelli. He must be sick of the sights of the back of Franco Morbidelli right now.
Look at his Aleix Espargaro on the Aprilia.
Well, he did say yesterday, keep an eye on him, he's got great tyre life. Quartararo, that he's not claimed a top 6.
Valentino Rossi on that late 1 minute 40, but he's lost ground. Rins struggling as well in the closing stages of this one.
It's so difficult to watch, isn't it? You know, when you're so close to a famous victory, what a weight around them team.
Well, it would be 8 podiums in all and 3 wins in 2020. What?
Yeah, I mean, for many people, they've been the surprise sensations of this 2020 World Championship. Yes, nobody, it's a massive shock if they're outside of the top 6. That's not going to happen today. They're on course for a famous victory with Morbidelli, who can't break away from Jack Miller, who's hanging on in there, as you knew he would do.
Viñales and Rossi now, as we see Dovi going through on. Is that Alex Masters starting to show signs of speed later on? Likewise Nakagami. Rossi's gone through now on Alex.
He has been flatlining throughout the whole race. He's just been able to keep his rhythm, and while everybody else is encountering late, steady Eddie show, hasn't it, from Dovi?
Now Crutchlow still in contention for Johann Zarco, but the man that's got the speed in this pack at the moment is Dovi.
Down into 20th place on the grid yesterday, so some unusual technical problems befalling the world champ.
Desperately trying to find some mistake coming from Franco Morbidelli, but this is a fantastic end to the season for the Italian who we're on board with now. 5 laps from
to get one more place on the podium on his departure for the Pramac Ducati team. Here comes Dovizioso now.
There's not a lot of room there
for the top 6. Really tough now, and Dovizioso just blitzed through on Zarco. Nakagami's come
5 since Le Mans in the wet, and his first dry top 5, get this, since the Grand Prix of Styria.
That's around him, and now Miller is right on Franco Morbidelli's rear tyre. This is like Valencia 7 days with Miguel Oliveira long gone.
Miller's beautiful throttle control there. They climb up towards then the last couple of sectors. Is there going to be a change for 2nd place?
Awesome, he's not put a foot wrong. He made the perfect start from pole position, and once he was able to open up that gap, he's control 0.1. Only a 10th quicker than Jack Miller, who was himself a 10th quicker than Franco Morbidelli, down, doesn't it, between this pair?
It really does. It really does. After going wide
over the last 2 weekends, he could write a book on Frankie's riding style.
And who, since Misano, has just come alive. What a turnaround it's been.
In Petronas Yamaha, it would be Franco Morbidelli, who's going to be the top Yamaha man in the championship as well.
Well, not Yamaha, obviously.
No, indeed. And he's not going to get the machinery upgrade next year as well, is he? Trying to pressure Morbidelli into a mistake, but he's just unflappable, isn't he? Because he's been able to keep that gap back to Jack Miller. Just a bit of extra corner speed there on Miller coming through the final turn.
Braking downhill into turn 1 to have qualified a little better. There's Nakagami in 5th ahead of Dovi and Bradl.
Brake being crowned world champion last weekend, electronics disaster, a glitch in qualifying left him 20th on the grid. That's dropped him out of this race. And Alex Rins, his teammate as well, he's been in free.
They've lost sight of Rossi. I mean, Rossi's 3.6 seconds up the road. They've had a dismal day in their fight for second. Falls behind Jack Miller. He'll still get there. 3 laps to go.
That went for the asymmetric rear, and it looks like it hasn't worked for the Suzukis and Petrucci. Zarco.
Yeah, well, shame really, isn't it? It's not worked out at all for the Suzukis. Lorenzo Savadori, I'm afraid, has crashed out. We now only have 2 more laps of this circuit to go.
What a fourth on grace it's been for Fab.
I don't think he will be. It could even get worse than that, depending on what happens on that 2020 bike. I mean, the only saving grace for Fabio Quartararo is that Maverick Vinales,
Yamaha engineers throughout the winter.
Taki Nakagami's speed late on in this race in them now.
And it does not matter what Jack Miller does, and trust us, he's thrown everything ahead of him.
No, well, it's time to find out what's coming on strong at the end of this race. They're up now approaching Cal Crutchlow, and through goes Maverick Vinales.
Yeah, Crutchlow in the early stages was really looking strong to finish his LCR Honda career, finish his full-time to this man, Valentino Rossi. They're not moving over with him to Petronas Yamaha SRT next year.
It has been perfect so far. Alex Marquez has had a strong end to this race as well. Johann Zarco's going to lose another.
Alex Marquez finishing the season strongly. Aleix Espargaro, another personal best lap for him on the factory Aprilia chassis. He's been true to his word, Aleix Espargaro.
One of the rides of the season from Miguel and his daughter Mathilde.
I can't see him throwing it away now. Miguel Oliveira is just far too much of a cool customer.
The whole of Portugal are behind you, and they will be loving this. Here comes Jack Miller, though. Has he got anything left on lap?
Valencia 2, take 2 here.
He's got to have a look. You know he's going to have a look. Here it comes. Around the outside, and he knows he'll have the inside line in the next corner.
I think Miller's got it. Jack Miller then, a late.
The checkered flag comes out here in Portugal. Miguel Oliveira wins! And Miller does get a bit of personal revenge over Morbidelli. He finishes 2nd, with Morbidelli is 6th ahead of a brilliant Bradl and Aleix Espargaro.
Grazie Danilo, great day. There is Paulo Oliveira, father of this young man who rode and absolutely built the gap, and then never looked back. He takes it by 3.1 seconds.
Number 1, Miguel, that was class. I've never seen a ride like that on a
way you can describe it.
Look at these guys. Hervé Poncharal is heading over towards
I've got to congratulate you on a win. How does this one feel? Even more